Okay, so our topic is the unique Hallel of Chanukah, or as I put it on the sheet, Chanukah is all about the Hallel. And I want to start out by noting something that is extremely striking. If you take a look at the first source on the sheet, this is from Rambam and Hilchos Chanukah. You know, Chanukah is one of those where Chanukah is grouped together with other halachas. But when you get to Perek Gimel, it's actually Chanukah, but the previous two prakim are, I think, Megillah. So he says, he gives you the story of Chanukah. How in the second Beis Hamikdash, when the Greeks were in charge, they issued decrees, they canceled the practice of Judaism. I'm not going to go through the whole story. I think we're roughly familiar with it. Halacha Beis, the Jews overpowered the Greeks on the 25th of Kislev. They enter the Heichal, and there's only enough oil for one night. And as a result, in Halacha Gimel, therefore the Chachamim in that generation enacted that you have these 8 days that should be days of Simcha v'Halel, Madlika Neros ba'Erev Pischei Abatim b'Chol Leila v'Leila. You light the candles at the entrances to the homes. And Halacha Dalet, he tells you anybody who's chayav in Megillah is chayav also in Ner Chanukah, right? That's the Avhein Hayu Ba'uso Hanes principle. And then in Halacha Hey, he says, where I underlined, B'chol yom v'yom mishmones hayamim ha'elu gomer nes ha'halel. On each of these days, you say a complete Hallel, and he gives you the bracha, ligmor es ha'halel, that's his language. Whether individual, whether community, doesn't make a difference. Even though Hallel is a derabanan, nonetheless, he say, Asher Kichamas V'Savat Tzivanu, right, the famous Gemara on that. And then Halacha Vav, he starts branching out. V'lo Hallel Shachanukah Bilvad, who shemi divrei sofrim, ela kriyas ha'halel la'olam divrei sofrim. He says, I have news for you. Hallel is always a derabanan, not just on Chanukah. Anytime we say Hallel, and he says there are 18 days, and you have a mitzvah to complete Hallel, the 8 days of Sukkot, because he's counting Shmini Atzeres as part of Sukkot, the 8 days of Hanukkah, first day of Pesach, Shavuos, not Rosh Hashanah, not Yom Kippur, as we know, and then Halacha Zayin, he says the places where you do 2 Yamim Tovim, Yom Tov Sheni Shal Galios, you complete Hallel as well, and then he talks about how you skip some paragraphs. He goes through in the rest of Perek Gimel all the way through Halacha Yedalid, the laws of saying Hallel, some of which are about Hanukkah, but as you can see from the parts that I brought, not all of it is about Hanukkah, and it's only in Perek Dalid that he comes back to lighting what some people call the menorah, some people call the Chanukiah. Technically speaking, of course, it's not a menorah. Menorah has not far fewer, but has fewer branches. So the question that you have to begin with is, why did the Rambam choose to embed the laws of Hallel in the laws of Chanukah? Right? Where would we have put them?
Shalosh Regalim.
Shalosh Regalim, maybe. I would have put them in Hilchos Tefillah. Right? I mean, I would have thought you put it in Hilchos Tefillah. So what I hope is that the answer to this question will provide an understanding that affects the way we sing Hallel on Chanukah. And by the way, I started doing this. If you flip to the back of the sheet, I've started on some of my shiurim including review questions. So that helps me when I write it up to make sure that I'm actually answering something of substance and getting to a point. But also it may help in terms of remembering where we've been, because this shiur does go in a few different directions. So, stage 1. I'm going to suggest something which is not my invention by any stretch of the imagination, but it certainly is surprising, and it's not what we normally think of. If I asked, I'd say 100 random Jews what the key mitzvah of Chanukah is, I would venture to say that 98 of them to 100 of them would answer
Lighting the candles.
Lighting the candles. Right? Menorah Chanukiah, but lighting is what we would consider, that's certainly what I thought of as the central mitzvah. It's certainly the most visible, so much so actually, it's funny. The Sdei Chemed has a comment. When you light the menorah, and you say the bracha, the first bracha, Asher Kishamas V'Savat Tzivanu, Lahadlik, what?
Ner Shel Chanukah.
Ner Shel Chanukah, what do? Ner Shel? Byron, do you do Ner Shel or Ner Chanukah? Whatever the sitter says.
However, the melody works better, right?
Right. Well, the melody definitely works better with shell. I think that's fairly clear. But years and years ago, I saw the Stei Chemed on this, and ever since I've said Lahalik Ner Chanukah. The Stei Chemed says that it's Lahalik Ner Chanukah, and the reason is, he says, because it's not the candle of Chanukah. Like there's this thing called Chanukah, and candles are one thing you do on it. For Shabbos, it's Ner Shel Shabbos, because Shabbos has many different aspects, and Ner is just one of them. Whereas Chanukah, he says, that's it. That's what Chanukah is. So therefore, it's Ner Chanukah, which I really liked, but now I think is not necessarily the way I would answer. Based on what we're about to see, it's actually not necessarily so. And I start with basic evidence. If you look in the Gemara in Shabbos, in source number 2, this is the classic capsule origin of Chanukah, right? My Chanukah. The Gemara in Shabbos, Parak by Memadlika, and once we're already talking about lighting and which things you can use for fuel and which things you can use for the wick. The Tana Rabbanan, Brisa says, B'chavhei b'Kislev yomei d'Chanukah t'manya inun. Starting on the 25th of Kislev, you have 8 days of Chanukah, the Mitzvah Bahon, you don't eulogize on them, the Hisanos Bahon, you don't fast on them. When the Greeks entered the Beis Hamikdash, they contaminated all of the oil. And when the Chashmonoim defeated them, they checked and they found only one jug of oil with the Kohen Gadol seal. Only sufficient for one day. Nasa bones ve'adliku mimenu shmona yamim. L'shana acheres, what did they do? Kavum ba'asom yamim tovim b'Hallel ve'hodah. They established them as days of Hallel and Hodah. What does it not mention?
Candle.
Yeah, there's nothing here about lighting. Just Hallel ve'hodah. Right? It's interesting, actually. I'm giving a shir, different context tomorrow morning about Mos Tzur. So in the lines in Mos Tzur that are about Chanukah, you say the Yivan Mikvatzu Alai Azay Chashmanim Partu Chomas Migdalai Timu Kol Hashmanim Uminosar Kankanu Nasalis LaShoshanim Yimei Bina Yimei Shmona Kavu Shira Rananim. It doesn't say Kavu Menorah, right? They enacted Shira Rananim. Now, lest you say, well, that's just Mos Tzur, you should know Mos Tzur has been sung for a very long time, right? Minimum 700 years. The Leket Yosher is a record of the Minhagim, of the Trumas Hadeshin. And he talks about which Zmiros the Trumas Hadeshin used to sing. And he says Friday night, the Trumas Hadeshin used to sing Mos Tzur on Chanukah. But in any case, going back towards this, what they did was Hallel ve'hodah. Not only that, if you look at Al Hanisim, I didn't bring Al Hanisim on the page, but Al Hanisim also does not mention any establishment of Neros Chanukah. It says instead they established those days lahodos ulhalel l'shemcha gadol, right? To praise Hashem. It does mention that when they won hidliku neros b'chatzos kochecha, that they lit candles in chatzerot of your sanctum. Maybe that refers to the lighting of the menorah that they did with the pure oil at that time. Maybe. A little difficult because it's not called chatzros kachecha, but it certainly doesn't refer to a mitzvah of menorah. So there are some achronim who suggest that not only is Hallel more important than menorah, but that menorah or Chanukiah was not actually part of the original celebration in the first place. The sefer called Chazdei Avos, Rabbi Yitzchak Yehuda Trunk of Kutna. I would not have known of the sefer. Rabbi Nati Helfgott mentioned it in an article, and that's where I saw it. He said that it was only after the Churban of the second Beis Hamikdash that they enacted lighting, and that lighting wasn't even about Chanukah at all. If they were creating an act of lighting a menorah after the Beis Hamikdash, it was intended to commemorate the menorah of the Beis Hamikdash. It wasn't Chanukiah at that stage. He notes the Gemara's language that we saw in source number 2 as one example. He notes the Rambam as well, which we saw in source number 1. Look at what he said in Halacha Gimel. He says they enacted, as we said, Yimei Simcha v'Hallel, right? And Malikin B'Hananeros as well. But he says they enacted this Yemei Simcha v'Hallel. He further notes a classic line in the Ramban. You know the Ramban in Parshas Baloscha about Aharon? Right? On the heels of the gifts brought by the Nesiim, the last day of Chanukah, we always read this, and we run into the beginning of Parshas Baloscha, and we read about Aaron lighting the menorah, and so he quotes you this medrash, source number 3. V'ra'isi od b'Elamdeinu, v'chein b'medrash Rabbah. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe. Hashem says to Moshe, Lech amor la'Aaron al tisyarei. Go tell Aaron, don't worry. L'gdola mizos atamuchan. You're getting something even better than these gifts brought by the Nesiim. Ha-karbanos calls man shebeis hamikdash kaim hein no again. Karbanos, yeah, as long as there's a beis hamikdash, there will be karbanos. Aval haneros la'olam el mul pnei amenoria iru. But the candles will always illuminate towards the center of the menorah. V'chol habracha shenasati l'chol havareches banai einam betelim la'olam berachas kohanim also will endure forever. So the Ramban writes on that medrash, V'hine davar yadua she'ein beis hamikdash kayim v'karbanos betelim mipnei churbano af haneros betelos. So the Ramban says, wait a minute. If what you're talking about was that you're going to light the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash, just like Karbanos stop when the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed, so do the Neros stop when the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed. Aval lo ramzu elu Neros Chanukas Hashmonoi she'inu hages afla achar Churban begalusenu. They weren't hinting at Hashem wasn't telling Moshe to tell Aaron about lighting in the Beis Hamikdash. He's talking about the Neros Chanukas Hashmonoi, the lighting of the dedication of the Hashmonaim, which would continue, or not continue, well, yes, which would continue after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. So this fellow, Rabbi Yitzchak Yehuda Trunk of Kutna, in his Chazdei Avos, contends that what the Ramban is saying is that Neros Chanukah are actually a continuation of the Neros in the Beis Hamikdash, which would suggest that they weren't lighting special Hanukkah candles while you had a Beis Hamikdash. He argues that only comes about later. The Rambam seems fairly clear, does not agree with this idea. Right? The Rambam seems to frame both here in source number 1 as well as in Sefer HaMitzvos in the first Shoresh that Neros Hanukkah were an original part. But that's his suggestion. Rabbi Tzalel Zolti also suggested this in his Mishnah Yaves, using different sources. He notes the Gemara's language, which we already noted in source number 2, but he also notes the Ravid on the bracha. That first bracha, aside from the question of Ner Chanukah versus Ner Shel Chanukah, there's a discussion of whether you do Lehadlik Ner Chanukah or Al Hadlakat Ner Chanukah. So the Ravid says in source number 4, he says the bracha is Lahadlik Ner Chanukah. V'im Yomar, and if someone's going to say, Kol mitzvah shehi midivrayim omer al, shehi ke'ein rishus. If you would make the argument that when you're making a bracha on a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, it's always supposed to be al this, because you're not really commanded to, it's more like a rishus, kasha li Ner Chanukah, then what are you going to do about Ner Chanukah? Why isn't that al? Maybe it's different because we light more and you can choose to light even more than that. Inami, alternatively, he says maybe because this bracha was actually established, and now it depends on how you read this next word, Al Hanera Shebamikdash could be read as the bracha was created to be said on the lights in the Beis Hamikdash, but the way Rav Zolti reads it is it was created because of the lights in the Beis Hamikdash. In other words, the menorah that we light, the Chanukiah that we light, is an extension of the menorah that was in the Beis Hamikdash. That our bracha comes about because of those menorahs that are in the Beis Hamikdash. I didn't bring it on here. I wanted to bring a Rashi, which I see that I omitted. But there's a Rashi in Shabbos Chav Beis Amud Beis on you have this debate about whether Hadlaka is a mitzvah or Hanacha is a mitzvah. When you light the candles, is it lighting it that counts, or is it placing the menorah in place that counts? So, practical application, if you put it in a place where you couldn't fulfill the mitzvah and you lit it, and then you moved it. So that will be an application of this question. When do you make your bracha? So Rashi there says Hadlaka osa mitzvah, it's the lighting that makes the mitzvah, as is found with the menorah. in the base Hamikdash. The Ran at the start of Hilchos Chanukah also says we don't use the light of the Chanukiah, right? We're not allowed to use the light for ourselves because it's made to be like the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash. So the Zolti contended that this is actually post Churban to remember the Beis Hamikdash. Everyone clear on that? That's the suggestion, which admittedly is counterintuitive and counter what we learn, as kids. But it's a very interesting read, because if this is true, then that means that you have a period of about, give or take, 220 years, in which the only celebration of Hanukkah is Hallel. Right? You're not doing this. The Greeks are somewhere around 150s, 160s before the Common Era, right? Beis Hamikdash isn't destroyed until the year 68 or 70, whatever that number is. So that's a very long time when the only thing you have is Hallel. So that would explain why the Rambam puts Hallel in Hilchos Chanukah, because it's essential to the Yom Tov. So that's our first stage. But there's more to it that requires that we gain an understanding of what Hallel really is and how we sing it on Chanukah. Let's start with a question that's a classic question. Why is it that we say half Hallel on the seventh day of Pesach? We do it in general for the last days?
After day one.
Right.
Day two on.
Either because
right. And the truth is...
I'm talking about Yom. I'm telling you Shira.
That's the seventh day.
So that's making it the whole...
Right. So one answer, which we'll see in a second, is the Gemara, is or it's based on that Gemara at any rate, is that we only say half Hallel really after day one of Pesach, including on day 7, because the Egyptians are drowning.
You're not going to go down on day 7, which is the Yom Tov day, right?
Why not? If there was a key moment that...
I'm not, you're saying, what's the reason for day 2 on? From day 3 on, day 3.
Right. But that is one explanation. Chaim, you were going to say a different explanation? There is another. So that's the second explanation that is found explicitly in the Gemara, is that the korban for each day of Pesach is identical. And that helps me explain Chomoy Pesach. This is a third answer. There's a Medrash in Psikta de Rav Kahana, which says, V'samachta b'chagecha, right? You have to rejoice on the Chag, but on Pesach we are nervous about the judgment for the year's grain. Now you'll say on Sukkot we're nervous about the judgment for rain, but on Sukkot we have the relief and joy of having made it through Yom Kippur. So that mitigates however nervous we are about rain. Pesach, you don't have anything to mitigate it, so you're nervous about the judgment for the grain, so therefore you're not really that happy. It's in Psikta of Kahana. Sorry?
So what about Shavuos then?
What about Shavuos then? Well, you only have one day. I don't know. I guess we don't care so much about trees. I don't know. Good question. It's Psikta of Kahana Nisbachim too. I saw it many, many years ago. I don't remember any. He addressed Shavuos. When I was at YU, I saw this. I gave a shiur not that long ago in which I quoted this Gemara about Masa Yadai and so on, and someone emailed me to say, well, wait a minute, there's a Psikta of Kahana. It's true. There is a Psikta of Kahana, but it's not really germane for our discussion tonight. Take a look, please, at sources 5 and 6. These are the two Gemaras which you've referenced. The first one is not really talking about Hallel. It's talking about the fact that at the sea, we say v'lo karav zeh el zeh kol halayla, which literally means the Egyptians and the Jews are not near each other all night. The Egyptians don't catch up to the Jews. However, the Gemara notices, hey, wait a minute, zeh el zeh. That's like the karav zeh el zeh ve'amar. So, ma'idechsiv v'lo karav zeh el zeh kol halayla, bikshu malach nashar islamar shira. The malachim wanted to sing to Hashem. Omar Kadosh Baruch Hu, when God says, don't you dare. Masa yadai tovim bayam ba'atem omrim shira. My handiwork is drowning in the sea. You're going to sing? Yes, this is not a valid source to say that Jews shouldn't sing when they are saved, because they did sing, Az Yashir, and Hashem was very happy with Az Yashir. But the Malachim don't have the same stake that we did. But that Gemara is one explanation that is brought. It's brought in the Beis Yosef in Orach Chaim Taftzadi. The other is the Gemara in Erchin in source number 6. Maishna b'chag d'amrinan kol yoma, maishna pesach d'lo amrinan kol yoma. Why is Sukkot different? We say Hallel every day, whereas in Pesach we don't. He means we don't say a full one. Dechag chalukim b'karbanosei, and because on Sukkot you have a unique carbon each day. The Pesach and chalukim b'karbanosei, and Pesach it's the same one daily. Those are the two. So why do I have two explanations? Why do I need more than one explanation? So Rav Aaron Kotler in Mishnah's Rabbi Aaron gives a fascinating answer. He says you have to go back to the nature of Hallel. He says there are two different types of Hallel. Before we see his formulation, what triggers Hallel?
It can either be a spontaneous reaction to an event currently, or kind of commemorating a historic event.
Not necessarily. I don't accept that idea. I mean, it's a nice distinction, but I don't think it holds water. You can find two different types of Hallel among the classic Hallel recitations that are commanded, that are historic, that are not spontaneous. What triggers Hallel? I'm thinking about the ones that we have. Yeah. Simcha? Okay, that's kind of broad. Simcha of what kind? I mean, generated by what event? A Yom Tov? A Yom Tov, right? That would be one possibility. I'll sharpen the word Yom Tov and say Chag, which connotes that there's a special avodah, there's a special carbon. But not all of them fit that.
Isser Malacha. I mean, that has to...
Chanukah and Purim don't have an Isser Malacha.
That's because it's the Nes.
So that's your second kind. You have two different kinds of Hallel. This is Rav Aaron Kotler's formulation. There is Hallel that is for a carbon, that's for a Chag, and there is Hallel that is a reaction to a Nes. So he points to the Gemara in Erchin, which I brought you here in source number 7, where the Gemara is bothered that Chanukah does not have a Chag, it doesn't have a carbon, and yet you're saying Hallel. And the Gemara's answer is, Mishum Nisa, it's because there's a Nes. So there are two motivators. That explains why I need two reasons for a half Hallel on the last days of Pesach. Right? The Gemara in Megillah that says it's because of the Nes of the drowning of the Mitzrim, right, is saying, therefore, there's a reduction in the joy at the Nes. Therefore, we're not going to say a strong Hallel. Even though the Jews at the sea could sing, that's them. They're the ones who lived through it. We apparently don't have the same license that they do. But that's if Hallel is about a Nes. If Hallel is about a carbon, who cares if the Egyptians are drowning? There's a carbon. So therefore we have a second answer, which is, but the carbon is not a unique carbon each day. So therefore, the carbon is insufficient as a cause for Hallel. You follow? Two different causes for Hallel, Chag and Nes, and each one is experienced to a lesser extent for the last days of Pesach. So that's just in terms of Hallel Bigadol. That's the way Hallel works. So now let's apply this to Hallel of Chanukah. Hallel of Chanukah is only about the Nes. All you have, as the Gemara noted, is the miracle. Interestingly, you might have made the argument that Chaim pointed out, and we said, you need a different carbon each day. So you should need a new Nes each day as well. So Tosfos in Tanis Chav Ches Amud Beis and the Tamei Manhagim quotes this from the Avodram, say that Chanukah has an increased or added miracle daily. We don't view it as the same miracle lasting all through the 8 days. But this idea that we're doing Hallel as a reaction to a Nes is the religious experience of our Hallel. And I think it's important to really grasp what that means. There's a Gemara in Pesachim in source number 8, which distinguishes between where Parak of Tehillim begins LeDavid Mizmor, and where Parak of Tehillim begins Mizmor LeDavid. LeDavid Mizmor, Malamed Sheshar Sa'al Shechina Be'achar Kach Amar Shira. LeDavid Mizmor, Hashem was manifest on David, and then he sang. Hashem came to David, and then Mizmor. was Mizmor LeDavid, Melamed She'amar Shira. First he said Mizmor, Ve'ach Kach Shar Sa'alav Shechina, and then Hashem was manifest LeDavid. What that could be read as is, sometimes a song is triggered from an outside cause, and sometimes we generate the song with our own passion. So you could contend, when Hallel is a response to Chag, it's LeDavid Mizmor. It's inspired by the external event. You're told today is a day when you're supposed to say Hallel. Fine, I will say Hallel today. Whether you feel it or not doesn't make a difference. It's a Chag. That's what you do. But on Chanukah, and in general on days when there's a Nes, it's Mizmor LeDavid. It's our spontaneous song of gratitude because Hashem has saved us. And now I come back to Rav Aaron Kotler. If you flip the sheet into number 9, he says, Af masha ha'adam roa be'enav me'atzorech leva'er le'atzmo masha hu ro'eh v'ligboa b'hakaraso. He says, what a person sees with his own eyes, he needs to literally explain to himself, to clarify to himself what he has seen, and to establish it in his mind, meaning to recognize Hashem's hand, to recognize the nes that has taken place. So in part, Hallel is a reaction to a nes, but it is also a means of processing the experience of the nes, so that the miracle is not wasted on us. In other words, you go through some wondrous experience, something happens and you're saved from a disaster or whatever it is, and okay, you can experience it and then move on. In order to avoid moving on from an ace, we have to process it by saying Hallel. Hallel is about developing the proper reaction to the nes. It's the song that we sing in order to process the miracle. If you think of Vayaminu Bashem with Moshe Avdo leading into Az Yashir, right? The two go together. Which gives me another answer as to why Hallel was not in Hilchos Tefillah. Our first suggestion was that a Hallel was put into Hilchos Chanukah because it's essential to Chanukah, right? As opposed to the other Tovim where it's just one of multiple mitzvos. But now we have a new way to look at it, which is it's here because this is a Hallel which is a reaction to an ace. It's not tefillah, in other words. It's not about Hallel as tefillah, it's about Hallel as reaction to nes. And that fits well with various sources that talk about which prakim we pick for Hallel. If you take a look at source number 10, I always find this fascinating. I never get over this Gemara. The Psachim Kuf Yud Ches. It's talking about Hallel HaGadol at the Seder. So Tana Rabbanan, Brisa says, Revi'i, the fourth cup, Gomer Olav as Hallel. You conclude Hallel. V'omer Hallel HaGadol Divrei Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Tarfon says, you say Hallel HaGadol, Hodu Hashem Kitov Kilom Chazdo, all the Kidolim Chazdos, right? And then, Yesh Omer Hashem Roi Lo Echsar. Some say that's not what we say at the Seder at that point. This height of our celebration, fourth cup of wine, you say Hashem Roi Lo Echsar. I don't know about you, but what's the first thing you think about when you hear someone say Mizmor David Hashem Roi Lo Echsar?
Sadness, mourning.
You wonder where the mace is, right? This is the funeral song. When I was in Rhode Island, the funeral home. There were two Jewish funeral homes. So one of them, they had, we walk into the room, Mizmor LeDavid in translation, in big, gold leaf or whatever it is, letters up on the wall behind the speaker. Like that's what Mizmor LeDavid means to me. But the Gemara says no. The Gemara says that actually could have been at the Seder. Why does that fit? Because it's an expression of emunah. Sorry.
I mean, that's you're relying on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the ultimate expression of your reliance on HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Correct. So the theme of Hallel is an emunah theme, and the Maharsha says it in terms of the prakim that we pick for Hallel. if you take a look at source number 11, he says, Elu HaChamisha, these 5 prakim that we have in Hallel, Hem Kololem HaIkarim, they include the essential beliefs, Hashlosha, Yitzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yamsuf, Morim Al Mitziusa V'Chidush HaOlam, Umatan Torah Dichsiv Ha'arim Rakdu, etc., Moral Torah Hashemayim, Kriyas HaMesim, he says, you get Yitzias Mitzrayim, you get the splitting of the sea, and those both are about the Ikar, the essence, which is Hashem's existence as well as the creation of the world. And then Matan Torah indicates Torah Hashemayim is the second one. So really, Mitzius Hashem and Chidush HaOlam, I guess, are going together. And then Torah Hashemayim is the second one, and Tchias HaMeisim is also in there. So it's about expressing emunah. So the goal of the Hallel on Chanukah, let's see if we can sum up what we've said so far, because I talked a little bit quickly with it. But number one, the central celebration of Chanukah then is Hallel, right? The Neros, according to this approach, which again the Rambam may not think is correct, the Neros are there post Korban. The goal of singing Hallel is to direct our processing of the Nes and bring us to increased Emunah. That's what we are going for. Clear? So one more piece to this. I had a longer discussion of how this fits into all of Hallel, but I thought I would just bring the first parak, because the first parak is an underrated parak. This opening parak of Hallel. But I actually didn't bring it on the sheet, which is odd. I thought that I had, and I did not. And there's room, too. Are there Siddurim in this room? Yeah. Chaim, or either way. Thanks. I got one here. No, that's not one. Chaim, I need one for you. Oh. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. It's Tehillim Kuf Yud Gimel. Got it. Thank you. I don't know why that's not. It's not. Oh, I got all the instructions. It's got all. That's the Shul Minhag.
That's the Balstolas.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Oh, they do the Nanuim differently.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It becomes a mess. Very people have the meaning of the Shul. Usually, the Rav announces at the beginning of before Hallel. The meaning is we do Nanuim the first Hodu and that's it.
Yeah.
When we do it all together, we don't do it responsibly. There's a few different.
Yeah, they have the concurrent thing in here, but they also do it different directions.
Right. So the Ashkenaz is forward, side, back. So they do. I mean, Sfar is a different.
Yeah, it says here, right, left, forward, up, down, and back.
That's just as far as that.
Wow.
Just distribute goggles.
What?
Just distribute goggles.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking at this parak, right? Halu of the Hashem, Halu Hashem Hashem. This opening parak of Hallel. Which essentially expresses what you would expect to find. I mean, Hashem's name is great. Hashem is praised everywhere. Hashem is great over all of the nations. Who is like God? He elevates the lowly out of the dust. He picks up the indigent to place him with the powerful princes. Right? I mean, it's a nice parak of Tehillim, certainly. Does anything stand out to you in this parak that could have made this, though, a suitable expression of Emunah in particular? What do you see? What makes this stand out as an expression of Emunah? Well, that's not Emunah, that's praise of Hashem. Your expression that Hashem takes care of. Okay. You could. I mean, Mekim Eferdal fits because it fits with Yitzias Mitzrayim, right? Since Yitzias Mitzrayim is a major theme in Hallel, he elevates the lowly and the indigent, emphasizes Hashem's power of Geula. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is because it's also about the publicity of Hashem's name. Mizrach Shemesh Ad Mavo'o, right? From the rising of the sun to its setting. And that would certainly do it. The Radak says it's just a given because it introduces the section on Yetzias Mitzrayim in Hallel, right, in Tehillim, I should say, by talking about the greatness of Hashem. But Abarbanel says something else. If you take a look on your sheet at source number 12, it's Abarbanel on Malachi. He says, Shemikalsen Oso, we praise Hashem, we sing to Hashem, Mibnei Mashe Yiru Me Osa Tnua Ha'atzuma. From what you can see, from the way that Hashem manipulates the world, from east to west as one piece of it. Ubeir od silu kashkachaso ba'omro ramal kugayim Hashem al hashman kvodo. But then it talks about the possibility that Hashem is not watching what goes on in this world. The nations say Hashem is removed from this world. In other words, he reads the parak differently. You should probably have a sitter actually in order to see this. He says, we say, Yishem Hashem Mavarach Me'etah B'yad Olam. Hashem should be praised forever, because Mizrach Shemesh Ad Mavo'o, from the rising of the sun to the setting of the sun, Hashem's name is praised. But the nations respond, and they say, no, Ramal Kol Goyim Hashem. Hashem is way, way up in the heavens. This is a theme. Abarbanel loves this theme. He does this in a few different places in Tanakh, where he says that the nations like to say Hashem is so lofty that he has no connection with our day-to-day life. He has, if I remember correctly, in Shiras Chana as one example, that she is saying that people are saying that Hashem is removed from us. So he says, they're telling us, Rama Kogoyim Hashem, Rotzalomar, the end of the first line that Abarbanel in source number 12, Rotzalomar Shara Kadosh Baruch Hu Ram V'Na'ala Mehanhigu Mehashkiach Bashfalim, that Hashem is way too elevated and distant. He isn't going to watch what's going on in this lowly world. V'Shalavad Al Hashemayim Hayakavodo. Hashem's honor is only in the heavens. Vashpaso, and his influence is only up there. Omnam, however, Anachnu lo naminkein. We don't believe it. Ki mi kashem Elokeinu mabi lashabes hamashpil liros b'shamayim uvaretz. No, look at it. Hashem doesn't do that. On the one hand, yes, Hashem is magbihi lashabes. Hashem is way, way up. But on the other end, he's also mashpili liros. He goes down in order to see what's going on in this world. And and he demonstrates it. First of all, look, Hashem does get involved in this world. He gets involved in the day-to-day. You see what Abarbanel is doing here? He's reconstructing this parak of Tehillim as a dialogue in which the nations say Rama Kogayim Hashem as a negative. And we respond with Mika Hashem Elokeinu v'Lashavas Hamashpil Liros B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz. That's the way he does it. It's all about what we believe. And that's another way to see Emunah as a theme in that opening parak of Hallel. And then the Medrash Tehillim as...
Yehuda Show is amazing.
Sorry?
Yehuda Show.
Yeah.
Like his...
That...
We're his place.
We are the one he has chosen, yes. But take a look at the Medrash Tehillim in 13 and 14, because this adds a remarkable layer to this parak. He says, Halu kalu of the Hashem ulu Hashem Hashem zeu shamar kasov ez kirana ginasi balayla im luvavi asicha. They tie it into this pasuk in Tehillim, which I wouldn't have seen obviously as being connected. I will mention my song at night, with my heart I will speak. My ezkra nigina. See, what does that mean? So Yehuda bar Simon Amar Knesset Yisrael lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Jews said before God, Nizkarti ani shasisa li nisim b'Mitzrayim. I remember you did miracles for me in Mitzrayim. Vayisim nagenas l'cha al yedei osa nisim. And I sang to you for those miracles. V'amarti l'cha shirim v'zimrim. It should say zimrot, maybe? I don't know. Ba'osa alayla. They did zemer as a male. And I sang songs to you that night. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Hashir yelachem kalel hiskadesh chag. This song will be for you, like the night that the festival was sanctified. The emasai. B'shah she'aragta b'chorei Mitzrayim balayla, when you killed the Egyptian firstborn. Shneimar v'hi b'chatzi halayla. So that's the Laila. Ezkara neginasi balayla, I remember or I mentioned my song at night, that's v'hi b'chatzi halayla. Aviomer neginasi balayla, ba'osa halayla she'ge'altanu b'hotzeisanu l'cheres, on the night when you redeemed us. Sha'ayinu avadim leFaro, uge'altanu v'asisanu l'chal avadim. We were Avdei Paro, and you made us your Avadim. Therefore it says, Hallelu Avdei Hashem, v'lo Avdei Paro. That to me is always a big thing. I wrote that into my siddur. I really like that line. When you start Hallel, Hallelu Avdei Hashem means Avdei Hashem and not Avdei Paro. We are Avadim of Hashem. And then in the next medrash, which I brought you in number 14, he really does it. He makes it into a story about the Jews in Paro. Amad Paro v'halach etzel Moshe v'Aaron balayla. The night of Makas Bechoros, Paro gets up and he goes to Moshe and Aaron. Shneimar v'yikra Moshe u'Aaron layla, like the pasuk says. He calls to Moshe and Aaron at night. Hayadofek Paro al pischein shel Moshe v'Aaron balayla. You're familiar with this medrash. He goes banging on the door. V'amaram kumu tzumi tochami. He says, get out. Amrulo, they said, Shota v'chi balayla. What, you fool? You think we're getting up in the middle of the night? What, you think we're thieves? We'll go up by day. Hashem said, don't leave your house until morning. Amar lahem, so Paro says to them, Harikar mesim kol Mitzrayim, but all the Egyptians are dying. Ki amru kulanu mesim. So they said, you want the miracle? You want this plague to end? And more, say the following sentence. Harei atem b'nei chorin, harei atem b'rishuschem, ve'in atem avadai, ela avdei Hashem. You have to say the following words. You are free, you are under your own control, you are not my servants, you are the servants of Hashem. And Hischel Paro Zovech Va'omer, and that's when Paro started to cry out, L'sha'avar ha'isem avadai, aval achshavat harei atem b'nei chorin, harei atem b'rishuschem, harei atem avdei Hashem, utzrichem atem lahalalo sh'atem avadav, and you have to praise Hashem because you are His avadim. Shneimar haluka halu avdei Hashem. So they're building off of Mishlei, as part of this medrash, but there it's talking about how opening our mouths with Chachma led to Matan Torah. But the point is this Avdei Hashem and not Avdei Paro. The goal of Hallel, at the outset of Hallel, with the first perek of Hallel, is a reaction to a miracle. We declare ourselves loyal Avdei Hashem as Paro did, and that's the key point. Hallel is not tefillah. Hallel is giving ourselves a way to look at our nace experiences. It's not that Hallel is never tefillah, because maybe you can still make the argument that in the Chag context it is. But Hallel for a nace, it's not about tefillah. So I gave you the review questions there at the end. What we've ended up saying, this is the first time ever I think that I've finished with this much time to spare. That number one, Hallel seems to be the primary mitzvah of Chanukah, with the candles potentially not even having been enacted until after Churban Bayesheni. The Chanukah potentially is a continuation of the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash rather than the nace. Right? We said that from Ramban. We said the original purpose was the Zecher l'Churban. The motivations for Hallel are either nace or Chag, and we gave the two explanations for why you wouldn't say a full Hallel at the end of Pesach, corresponding to each of those. And the Chanukah one, the Gemara says explicitly, is the one that is about a nace. As Aaron Kotler said, it's the opportunity to process the nace, and therefore that's a reason why the laws of Hallel will go into the laws of Chanukah. Number one, as its own, because it's the main mitzvah of Chanukah, but also because that's the true nature of Hallel, is the Hallel, a reaction to the nace, which is not tefillah. It's something different. Clear? I mean, obviously, you just got it at the end, but.
So what
I
again
got
was,
lost.
what again was Butler's point, and how did he connect? He was writing here on Pesach. How does he connect to Chanukah? Does he?
Right, no, he does. His point is I mean, he's writing in the context of Pesach, but his point is very much to highlight and explain the reasons why for Pesach you do a full Hallel only on the beginning. The piece is actually called Shira al Hanes v'Chizuka HaKara. The idea is explaining the two different kinds of Hallel and how Hallel for a Nes strengthens our appreciation of the Nes. That's what he was trying to get across. He wasn't the piece that I did about Tehillim Kufid Gimel. I think that was mine. I don't think that was his.
According to that by reciting the Megillah and Purim, that's a substitute for Hallel. That's supposed to accomplish the
that's your
goal.
processing of the. I would think so. Yeah. All right. Thank you.